your forecast first. Sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Roofing Dog, I'm at Brett, your weather camera. We're looking to the southwest of Champaign, and that is where we've got another line of storms currently moving into the area. Let's show you what it looks like on the Storm Tracker Doppler, and here we go, right into Piatt County, right on the Champaign-Piatt County line. Pretty good little storm there showing up near Ivesdale, and all of this is lifting to the northeast. So Champaign County, Douglas County getting a little wet here before too long. There's a little bit of a loop. Arthur, you got some rain before too long. Tuscola, you'll get on the activity towards Tolono as well. What a huge temperature difference from north to south across the state. There's a front hanging right through 86 in Effingham. It's 70 in Champaign. Some wet pavements here. See some water on the side of the roads after some storms came through. More about additional rainfall in the forecast this week. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now on WCIA 3 News.
Changes are coming to the U of I in regard to testing. What's different now for graduate students, faculty, and staff?
The cost of the coronavirus continues to add up. Could Congress come to the rescue in Illinois? Coming up.
We had a lot of clients who weren't ready to come back yet.
So they made a big change, and it put customers back in the seat.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 6.
We already know people were testing more times per week than they necessarily had to.
But they'll need to do it even less. The U of I is changing testing requirements for some students, faculty, and staff. Good evening, I'm Jennifer Roscoe. Certain people will only have to get tested once a week now, instead of twice like they were doing. That change starts today, but it doesn't affect undergraduates. WCIA 3's Courtney Bunting live on campus. Courtney, so what do students think of this?
Well, Jennifer, all the students I talked to said that they're okay with this change. Now, some of them even said that as graduate students, they'll still continue going to get tested twice a week, which they can if they want to. But they all agreed that they're happy the rule did not change for undergraduates.
I think that the majority of the cases so far, and I think the surrounding area knows that too, have come from the undergraduate community.
In fact, U of I leaders say that more than 95% of COVID-19 cases on campus are from undergraduate students. On the flip side, faculty, staff, and graduate students are considered extremely low risk. Those who fall under that low-risk category are now only required to test once a week, whereas undergrads will need to do it twice.
I think that's better, that they still are making the undergrads do twice a week just because of their lifestyle.
University leaders say these new rules will lower wait times and help them contact people who test positive more quickly. Staff member Terrence Washington says he's willing to do a test as often as needed, but says it makes sense that staff like him should have to do it less.
I think it won't hurt us at all, as long as everybody's doing their job and doing their part to make sure that COVID isn't getting out of hand.
Thankfully, student Winnie Wu is helping streamline testing for everyone. She created an app that shows how long the wait time is at each site on campus.
So I think this would be really beneficial, as in, I might have to walk an extra block or two to get to the next testing center with a shorter line, but I'm still going to do it if it fits into my schedule better.
University leaders are predicting that testing this semester alone will cost them $10 million. Now, they're pulling that money from reserves they have set aside for risk management. Reporting live in Urbana, Courtney Bunting, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
Courtney, thank you so much. Now, the U of I does ask that faculty, staff, and grad students get tested either on the weekend or on Wednesdays. Some undergrads who are at a higher risk of recent exposure may be asked to test 3 times a week. COVID-19 isn't stopping the growth in Charleston. EIU says its enrollment is up by 10% this year. In particular, there are more in-state students. About 4% of this year's freshman class came from homes within 60 miles of the school. Officials say the overall increase helps offset a decrease in enrollment from international students. Ford County is reporting a new COVID-19 death. It was a man in his 80s and he was linked to the outbreak at the Accolade Healthcare of Paxton-on-Pelz. He is the 4th person to die in the county from the disease. Statewide, 7 more people have died. Illinois has lost more than 8,100. There are almost 1,400 new cases. That makes more than 252,000 overall. The good news, the 7-day positivity rate dropped to 4%. The cost of the coronavirus keeps getting larger. The state of Illinois has already spent $1.3 billion on COVID-19 related expenses. Our Capitol Bureau Chief, Mark Maxwell, is live in Springfield for us at the Capitol. Now, Mark, today the governor called on Congress to send more relief money.
And Jennifer, the national political fight is just heating up now as the Senate and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell was introducing his new plan today. But that's what led Governor Pritzker to play the role of lobbyist here, really. He made a direct appeal to Senator McConnell, saying your home state of Kentucky could stand to suffer big government cuts if Congress doesn't come to their aid, and several other states around the country. Now, this latest plan from McConnell and Senate Republicans would pare their deal down to about $500 billion. According to early reports, it would not include anywhere near the amount of money that Democrats had wanted to see, especially for state governments who saw so much tax revenue dry up as the economy started to slow down. Now, if we go back a few months, Congress did initially set aside $5.5 billion in coronavirus relief money for Illinois governments. But when that CARES Act funding came, it came with strings attached, meaning we couldn't spend those dollars to replace lost tax revenue, only on new coronavirus-related expenses.
I'm very, very concerned that our social services, our human services across the state will be diminished significantly if there's no funding provided. There was a lot of revenue lost as a result of COVID-19 all across the country. I'm very hopeful that Congress will step up during this month of September, to do the right thing, and that the president will sign it.
The latest plan from Senate Republicans on Capitol Hill would also not include those popular $1,200 direct payments. It would, though, include the extended enhanced unemployment benefits at $300 a week. It would replenish the Paycheck Protection Loan Program, fund vaccine research, help schools reopen, and forgive debt at the post office. There are reports that this latest Republican plan could also try and reallocate money from the CARES Act that wasn't spent yet. Why is that important? Because Illinois still hasn't spent even half of what Congress first gave us. That $5.5 billion for Illinois, we've only spent $1.3 billion of that money so far. That's according to the latest report on the Comptroller's website. Reporting in Springfield, Mark Maxwell, WCIA3, your local news leader.
Mark, thank you for that. This is a follow-up. If you're a Head Start family, today was the first day back, but not for students at certain locations. As we first told you, 7 Head Starts under the East Central Community Action Agency's oversight were shut down. The federal government rescinded its grant to the agency. Fiscal mismanagement by officials prompted the move. That was a week ago. A new agency will run the Head Start locations in the meantime, but a start date hasn't been set yet. That means families will have to find alternative providers or wait for locations to reopen. We keep hearing about lost mail or packages being dumped in parking lots, but Congressman Rodney Davis says he still has confidence in the Postal Service. He stopped in Champaign today, got a tour, and talked about his trust in them. Davis also talked about what he's done to support the post office, like voting for the Delivering for America Act. It gave USPS $25 billion in emergency help.
And I can't remember a single time that I had a bill that didn't arrive or didn't get to the intended address. Those are great odds, and those are great results.
Davis also talked about a bill Congress passed. He says it's helping the Postal Service be more self-sustaining because it changed the way their employees prepay into their pension. And while Davis was in the area today, he also stopped at the Piatt County Mental Health Center. He gave them a congressional record honoring them on their 50th anniversary. Police have found his blue bike, what they are saying about the missing man who owned it, and also tonight.
Really, at the end of the day, what we have to do is adapt or die.
It may be the only salon or barbershop that offers this in the area, where you can get your hair cut without even going inside.
If you're in Charleston, kind of look off to the west, and you can see this little shelf cloud here that has developed, a little line trying to move in. We'll show you what it looks like on radar. Let's show you the recap of today, 86 and 62, the highs and the lows. More about the storms we've got out there, when things cool off, and how overall we're staying below average with the temperatures when we come back.